In an age where a single stroke could mean life or death, one man sought not just to master the blade, but to master himself. He fought hundreds of duels and walked countless roads, yet the most profound battles he ever faced were not with others, but within. This is not just the story of a swordsman. This is the story of a soul in pursuit of truth. Welcome to the unfolding journey, where literature, history, and philosophy come together to illuminate the timeless lessons buried in great stories. Today we're diving deep into Eiji Yoshikawa's epic novel Musashi, a sweeping tale of war, honor, discipline, and above all, self-discovery. But we're not here just to talk about sword fights. We're here to explore how Musashi reveals swordsmanship as something far more profound than martial skill, as a way of life. In the hands of an ordinary warrior, a sword is a tool of violence. But in the hands of Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary samurai at the heart of Yoshikawa's novel, the sword becomes a mirror that reflects fear, ego, ambition, and ultimately enlightenment. Musashi is often read as a historical novel or a warrior's journey. But underneath the duels and travels lies a deeper message. The path of the sword is also the path of the self. Let's explore how Musashi's approach to swordsmanship evolves into a spiritual and philosophical pursuit, and how Yoshikawa uses the blade not as a weapon, but as a metaphor for life itself. At the beginning of the novel, Musashi, then known as Takizo, is wild, impulsive, and dangerously talented. Fresh from the Battle of Sekigahara, he's fueled by pride and a thirst for power. His sword is an extension of his will, but not yet of his wisdom. After being captured and imprisoned by the monk Takuan, something begins to change. Takuan, unlike any warrior Musashi has met, sees the blade not as a tool of dominance but as a discipline requiring balance, humility, and moral clarity. Musashi's transformation begins here. Not through combat, but through reflection. His journey becomes less about conquering others and more about conquering the self. Yoshikawa uses this turning point to introduce a central theme. True mastery comes not from defeating others, but from understanding and overcoming one's own inner chaos. One of the most striking aspects of Musashi's character is his relentless pursuit of improvement. He travels not to fight but to learn. Each duel is a lesson, not in killing but in sharpening awareness, discipline, and intention. Musashi often chooses to live simply even in poverty. He rejects fame, luxury, and political gain, elements that distract from purity of purpose. This austere, almost monastic path resembles not just that of a samurai but of a Zen monk. In Zen, the way, or do, is not a destination but a continuous practice. The path of the sword, kendo, mirrors this philosophy, where each swing of the blade is a meditation, and each battle an opportunity for spiritual awakening. In this way, swordsmanship in Musashi becomes a living philosophy. The blade is not just metal, it is the extension of clarity, focus, and mindfulness. Yoshikawa repeatedly shows us that one's sword style reveals one's inner nature. Contrast Musashi with Sasaki Kojiro, his greatest rival. Kojiro is elegant, fast, and stylish, but his confidence often borders on arrogance. He seeks fame, favor, and reputation, treating swordsmanship as a performance more than a practice. Musashi, on the other hand, avoids the limelight. He sees dueling as a sacred test, not entertainment. His victories are often achieved through patience and insight, sometimes even without drawing his sword. This contrast illustrates a powerful point. In Yoshikawa's world, how one fights is inseparable from how one lives. The sword reveals character, and through the sword, character is forged. The character of Takuan plays a crucial role in revealing the spiritual dimension of swordsmanship. A Zen monk, Takuan challenges Musashi with paradoxes and riddles, forcing him to think beyond winning and losing. One of the novel's most memorable exchanges is when Takuan tells Musashi, "You have a fierce heart, but unless that heart learns compassion, it will destroy you." Takuan teaches Musashi that to wield the sword well, one must first master the mind. Fear, anger, hesitation. These are internal enemies far more dangerous than any opponent. This mirrors a key tenet of both Zen and the martial arts. The ultimate battle is not against others but within the self. In time, Musashi learns to see swordsmanship not as an act of aggression, but as a vehicle for truth. He even begins to paint and carve, arts that require the same focus and fluidity as combat. For Musashi, art and sword are now one. By the final chapters of the novel, Musashi is no longer the volatile young man we met at the start. He's contemplative, compassionate, even reluctant to fight. His legendary duel with Sasaki Kojiro on Ganryu Island is not a triumph of ego but of clarity. He defeats Kojiro not because he is stronger, but because he understands timing, terrain, and perhaps most importantly, himself. Yoshikawa uses this duel as the culmination of Musashi's philosophical journey. He does not celebrate the kill, but mourns the loss of a worthy opponent. In the aftermath, Musashi walks away not as a victor but as a seeker. The true duel, it seems, lies ahead, in the form of life itself. Musashi is not a novel about sword fights. It's a novel about how to live. Through the metaphor of the blade, Yoshikawa presents a vision of life where mastery is not about domination but discipline, not about glory but growth. Musashi's path is solitary but not lonely. His lessons are born from struggle but aimed at peace. And his sword, once a weapon of destruction, becomes a tool for inner harmony. In the end, Musashi is not remembered for how many men he defeated, but for how deeply he understood the art of being alive. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Musashi, there's so much more ahead. At the unfolding journey, we explore the wisdom found in stories across cultures and centuries. From samurai epics to ancient philosophy, we believe that every story holds a lesson, and every lesson brings us closer to truth. So if that speaks to you, do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a journey. Until next time, walk with intention, live with discipline, and keep unfolding your path.